everyone, it's Renee with Delaney Jane Cards. Welcome back to my channel. Today my friend Amanda at Rise and Procraftinate and I have our monthly collaboration video, and today we decided to each take on some foiling techniques and share at least 6 from each of our craft rooms. Today I am sharing with you 6 plus maybe a couple extras. So this is foiling with transfer gel. I'm going to use this stencil, Leafy Green stencil from Hurley Create. It's one of my newest stencils and I'm really kind of loving it. It's not feminine. I could use it for a feminine card, but I just really love how clean the pattern is. And anyway, I am going over this with this Deco foil gel here and just scraping it on and making a nice clean smooth layer, and I'm making sure that I put all the extra back into my jar and cleaning off my stencil and my palette knife after every time I use it. And I did use Canson XL watercolor paper here because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with these panels. I'm going to show you quite a few panels. I just wanted to share with you some other options. So this is a stencil by Echo Park. It's called the Holiday Quilt stencil, and I did the same thing here. I just kind of wanted to show you another angle about just how smooth this really goes on and how cool it looks when the stencil pulls off. And this one here is Wave of Stars by Create a Smile. Now these pastes need to dry. It takes about an hour to dry, so I just moved on to some other things. And here's a little bonus stenciling tip. I'm using my ATG here, and I just put it down enough to cover or to be big enough for my stencil. And then I layered my foil over top and it transferred. And it's not smooth, it's got kind of that distressed look to it, but I thought that it would look really good on this hello die here. And this is from Trinity Stamps, this little hello, and it's like the perfect little scripty hello font. I don't know, I'm a fan. And it has a shadow too, so it's one of my favorite hello dies that I do have. So that was just a little extra bonus, and I wanted to make sure while I was working on that I shared that with you, because that is not one of my tips and tricks or techniques that I am actually concentrating on. But you never know. Sometimes you find a hidden little gem in a video, and this is one of those. So for all of those Deco foil transfer gel panels, I let them all dry, and then I pulled out my Amazon Basics laminator here, and I have it on the 5 mil, which I think is a heat setting. It's the hottest. So you can see here that it dried, and it's like clear. So then I pulled out this leaf background is one I'm going to use with the hello. And so I used the same foil, which is a copper foil, and I put a piece of foil in on top of my panel in a transfer sheet, and then I just waited for my machine to be all hot and ready to go, and then I fed it through with the fold side first. I find that I think you're actually supposed to do this, but I find that my stuff doesn't buckle or get caught in there if I do it that way. And then I flip everything over and I run it through, so now the foil is on the bottom, and then I will run it through one more time, because I just find with this machine and this carrier sheet, I find that I get the best transfer if I do it this way. And you're going to have to check yours out and see what you how it works for you, but for me this is how I get the best transfer. So I did all of those panels the same way. The second way is using pre-printed foilables, and I was a longtime subscriber to Scrapping for Less, and they sent us this little foilable sheet in one of the kits, so I'm going to foil that. But these are also foilable. They are Simon Says Stamp sentiment strips that you can foil, and that's the Fresh Bloom collection. So here I'm running through that foilable panel the same way, flipping it over, running it through, and I just always find that I get the best results for 3 times. That stack there that I keep kind of touching, those are all of those ones that I ran through that had the transfer foil gel on them, and I just made sure that they were cooling down. So here, I was just checking, here is the foilable sentiment strip. I just die cut it out using the Simon Says Stamp sentiment strips, and then I'm running it through the carrier sheet with some foil. And I didn't find I got the best image or like foil transfer with them, but it was good enough that when I did use them in the cards that I will show you, that they have the glimmer and shimmer and shine of foiling, and it's really pretty. The third way that I'm going to show you is foiling using embossing powder. And I have this new job stamp set from Apple Blossom. Everywhere I checked, it was sold out, but any solid, more solid stamp would work really well with this. Any stamp would work, but this I figured would hold its shape really well. So I put this on this kind of, I guess like a khaki green, maybe army green color, and I'm using repositionable Scotch tape here, removable Scotch tape, because I don't have a place for my magnet to be, and actually I think I just had misplaced my magnet, and that happens around here. Does that happen in your craft room too? So I just went about embossing this. I made sure that I had a really good impression using my Versamark ink, and I had used my anti-static powder bag first, and I made sure that I had this solid stamp, nice and solidly stamped. And then I sprinkled on some Simon Says Stamp rose gold embossing powder. And if I stopped here, if I had embossed this and stopped here, it would be pretty. It really would be pretty. But this wasn't the technique I wanted to share. I didn't want to show you how to emboss, but I will show you how to emboss this one because it looks so cool. Just made sure I heated up my heat tool for 30 to 45 seconds. I usually let it run while I'm doing my stamping and while I'm pouring my embossing powder, and then it's usually nice and hot and doesn't warm my paper. And then once that was cooled down, then I ran that through my laminator here with some rose gold foil through the carrier sheet. And I did it the same way I did the other panels. I ran it through foil up, then foil down, then foil up. And like I said, it's just what I find is works best with this machine. So here I'm just running that through, and I will tell you that this one didn't turn out so well and I had to redo it. But I did leave all that in so you could see and see exactly how I did fix it. So it looks like it transferred really nice, and I did check and it didn't. Here, I'll show you. So here is the leaf, and that transferred really nice. I believe on Amanda's channel you will see how she uses the negative space. See, this did not transfer very well. You can see a couple of spots, but see, it didn't even pull the foil. So I did run that back through after I'm done here. Here are the sentiment strips, and they have just a little bit of glimmer to them. They don't transfer very well, and I'm not sure if that's just because they're pretty old. I've had them for a while. And then here is that quilted pattern. I need to use these negative spaces up. I have to figure out what I'm going to do with them because they're gorgeous. And these are all the pieces, the bits and pieces that I'm going to use to make my cards. This stars is so fun. That's a rainbow shattered glass foil. So we're back to that new job here. Here I'm running it through again, and I just did it 3 times. I'm not sure if my machine had cooled down before when I was running it through, if I had just run too many things through or whatever, but this time when it transfers so nice. You can see it's just so shiny. So here are all of the pieces and parts that I have made up to this point. And now we're going to move on to number 4, which is using Best Glue Ever. This is it's not a new to me product, but it's a newer product in my craft room. It's a really unique glue. It stays tacky when it's done. You can glue just about anything together. And I have the fine tip from them. You can put that on just about any glue bottle and it will make your glue kind of like a glue pen. But here I had colored this image, and then I'm just filling in the spaces I left open. And then here I'm just adding a little bit of glue to the tassel. And then I let this dry. It needs to dry completely. Once it was dry completely, it's kind of clear. And then I pulled a piece of the piece of foil back out, and I used my adhesive to just stick the foil on to where the glue was. And it adds so much shine and detail to an image like this. And then I just ran my anti-static powder bag over the top just to make sure that I didn't have any sticky left. But look at there, you can see all that shine. And then for the graduate here, I did the same thing, used my bone folder to go over top and just gave her tassel a little bit of glimmer. So that is using Best Glue Ever, and that was number 4. So now we're going to move on to number 5, and that is using the hot foil stamps. And I have a hot press and foil, or no, Go Press and Foil machine. It's by Couture Creations, I believe, and I hadn't used it in a while, so I was rusty. But this machine uses different foils. It uses hot foil. It's not the Deco foil, but this is Glimmer foils. And what I did is I placed and they're actually called stamps. They're hot foil stamps. They're just metal, like metal dies that don't have cutting edges. And I placed it down and let it get hot, and then put my foil shiny side down, and then added my paper. Now I wanted to add a rose in the center, so I placed my paper down and then placed the die or the stamp down with the face down. And I didn't want it to shift, so I used a little piece of purple tape, and I placed my foil underneath, and then I heated it up. Now it's supposed to blink and then turn green when it's hot, but this machine was so hot, I don't think that, I know I didn't wait till it turned green all the time, but I did get a good transfer every single time. With my die cut machine, I have to add a little shim, so I did that. So I just used the little magnetic tweezer grabber things, and I pulled that off. And it's so pretty. I love foiling. And then here, this is Spellbinders, and they have a set where you can foil the sentiment, and then they have matching dies, so you can die cut them out. So while I had all of my stuff for this project out, I went ahead and did this one. And it did kind of overfoil a little bit for me, and after I die cut it out with the coordinating Spellbinders die, I just used my white eraser and cleaned up all of the overfoiling. I find that works really good. Sometimes you don't even need that. I just wipe my finger across it and it will pull all of the extra foil right off. So that is going to be another card. Here is number 6, using the hot foil system with cutting dies. You don't have to just use the hot foil stamp dies. You can use your regular cutting dies. So what I did here was I wanted to frame this graduate's face, and I had pulled this Gina Marie scallop nested rectangle out, and it's a smaller version of what I had cut the panel with. So I laid my image down and put put the die on top, and then cut a piece of gold foil. I thought the tone of this gold really matched the tone of the gold that I used for the tassel. And I just made sure that heated all the way up, and you can see how warm it is. It's almost like the foil is just melting right into my image, just relaxing right into there. And see, I have a green light. And so then I ran this through. I was all confused as to how I was supposed to do this because it just always seemed so hot. But I ran it through my die cut machine. And it's hard to really see here, but I'm tipping it so you can kind of see. There is a little frame of fine gold foil around her. So here I'm using a Create a Smile Cool Cuts die. It's Congrats, and what I did is I cut out the word Congrats from the shadow, which is the same thing I used for the black here, and I'm layering them on top of the die that would be the word die that goes on top of the shadow. And then I ran that through my die cut machine, and when I pull that off, look at how pretty that is. It's just elegant. So number 7 is a bonus. It's using the hot foil system with an embossing folder. Now I seen this done, I think it was Senti did it. Stampin' Munchkins, maybe? I'm not exactly sure, but I seen her practicing. Maybe it was Nancy Stamps. Seen her practicing this technique, so I thought I would give it a try. Um, I will say that I probably need to practice it more, but I wanted to show that this actually does work. I used this Park Lane embossing folder and I made a background. So here are the cards that I finished. This is using a thank you die and one of the sentiment strips, and this is where I used that quilt background. Here is that leaf background, and I used some chalk pastels in the background, and then also the hello that I did. And here is the all is calm, all is bright, and that's that foilable panel. And then I also did the same quilt background here. And another way to add some shimmer and shine is some cardstock that is shimmery or shiny. This is the panel that I did through the embossing folder. I turned it into a Mother's Day card. I think it turned out great. Here's New Job, and this was the foiling with the embossing powder. Here is just the hot foil stamps with the hot foil system, and I just layered those up to make an anniversary card. Here is the graduation card, and I did the foiling with the adhesive. I did foiling with the cutting dies, and I did foiling with the sentiments, or the pre-printed sentiments. And here is the a birthday card that I made, and it has foiling with adhesive, the best glue ever. It has a foiling strip. It has a foiling with the transfer gel. So those are the foiling samples and techniques that I have to offer to you today. There should be 6 more over on Amanda's channel, maybe even some bonus ones. I'm really hoping that you're enjoying our collaboration every month. Here are a few closer looks at the cards that I made. I would love to know, what is your favorite? Did you learn any new techniques? Do you have any tips or tricks for me as far as foiling? And I'd love to know, what card is your favorite? And I'd love for you to check out Amanda's channel and come back and tell me, what was your favorite card she made? Because she has some amazing techniques that she's going to be putting on over at her channel. And remember all those pieces from the backgrounds, the miscellaneous throwaway pieces? Do you think I should make those into cards? And would you come back and watch a video with me using that? So, as I always say here on my channel, thank you for stopping by. First of all, check out my comment section and give cards generously. Bye!